I know, I'm sorry, the series took a break last weekend, but your favorite MLS review show, hosted by a Canadian YouTuber, is back. And so without further ado, let's just get into it. The MLS review, where we go over the highlights, the lowlights, and let's do-ites. Toronto hosted Orlando City for the Friday night kickoff to the weekend. Orlando, of course, lost their last match going into this one, but have won a club record of 6 straight beforehand. Toronto, on the other hand, have had a tough start to the season, no doubt made more difficult by the CONCACAF Champions League. But there are a few things that Vanny will need to iron out, and in this game, they had to do it without their talisman in the attack, Giovinco. Couple that with the absence of Altidore with injury, and you've got a stretched squad in the attack for Toronto. Thankfully, their defense was boosted with Mavinga and Vandervelde, but Zavaleta at center back? Yikes, no thanks. God, the people weed whacking outside, please. One of the stars of the night, however, was Toronto's own Ryan Telfer, who ended up scoring the winner in a 2-1 match, which was also his first MLS goal. Prior to that, it took Toronto a frustrating 62 minutes to find an opener when Chapman put away Ricketts' rebound. Orlando answered 10 minutes after, though, with Christian Higuita's strike from the edge of the 18 that found the bottom corner. That was his second goal of the season from just 7 shots. Economical. Then, like I said, Telfer scored the winner, giving Toronto their 3rd win of the season and moving them out of the bottom 2 in the East. After getting smacked up by their New York rivals, and then only managing a draw against LAFC, NYC FC had a chance to right their wrongs at home to the Colorado Rapids. The Rapids' form sheet wasn't looking good coming into their matchup at Yankee Stadium, as they had lost 4 consecutive matches. Well, with 4 goals scored by NYC FC, they turned that 4-match losing streak into a 5-match losing streak. In what could be one of Patrick Vieira's final matches for NYC FC, as rumors of him becoming the Nice head coach intensify, David Villa scored another brace, taking his tally for the season up to 7 goals in 9 matches. Truly an incredible player still at 36 years of age, in one of the most physically demanding leagues in the world. Ronaldo Matarrita also scored, his first of this season and since 2016, and rounding out the scoring was Maxi Morales, who's been involved in 9 goals across 12 appearances so far, with 5 goals and 4 assists. What a player. Every time the Impact faced off against NYC FC at Stade Saputo, I was always so impressed with the cute little 5'3" Morales. Shifty, smart on the ball, great player. Alright guys, let's give a big shout out to Gio Savaresi, the Portland Timbers head coach. After starting the season pretty terribly with no wins from 5 matches, the Timbers have now won 5 matches straight, taking the scalps off of the likes of NYCFC and always tricky Seattle, and now LAFC. The Timbers didn't find the breakthrough until the 52nd minute when Diego Valeri's free kick was saved by Miller, but Christian Paredes followed up to tuck away the rebound. Portland were fairly dominant in this match as far as meaningful opportunities went, but when you have a player like Carlos Vela in your squad, anything is possible. Sort of like this.
In for Carlos Vela. Vela taking the attempt. Oh, what a goal again!
Man, what a player he is. Will be interesting to see how LAFC do without him during the World Cup, not to mention the possibility that Simon makes the final 23 for Belgium after making the initial 28-man list. For Portland fans, while Fernando Adi has scored a couple of goals this season and was perhaps unlucky when one of his shots banged off the bar, however, he's still largely failing the team. So, with the substitution of Armenteros for Adi in the 75th and the subsequent game-winning goal from Samuel Armenteros, an absolute screamer, now Timbers fans are calling for Armenteros to be given a shot at the starting position, and I mean, why not? Regardless, Portland, as I said, get their 5th win, while LA's form starts to get a little checkerboardy with 1 win in their last 4 matches. Nothing to worry about just yet, but not the dizzying heights they started with. On Saturday, the Kings of the Draw, FC Dallas, welcomed the Vancouver Whitecaps to Toyota Stadium. This was a weird game in which you gotta give credit to Vancouver for never really giving up, but they had no business being in this match at all. If it wasn't for FC Dallas's terrible finishing, this game could have been a massive blowout, as Dallas outchanced Vancouver 16-6, and Maurer didn't have to make a single save all game. Dallas took a 2-0 lead thanks to goals from Reggie Cannon and Maxi Arruti, the latter seemingly putting the game away in the 78th minute. By the way, shout out to Roland Lamar, who got another assist as he's been involved in 9 goals in 10 appearances. Then, the Goofs took over the match, as Vancouver clawed it back 2-1 thanks to a fortunate own goal by Figueroa. And by Goofs I mean the Goofs and the Gaffs, not calling Vancouver Goofs. Then, with 7 minutes of added time, Jimmy Maurer's attempted punched clearance ended up hitting Blondell, and a penalty was awarded. Prior to the punch, Maurer was impeded by Aya when he was trying to get the ball with an arm in his face. But hey, I'm just saying.
Well, I was speaking of, and you wonder right there. Yeah, that's the one.
Regardless, Kai Kamara converted the penalty as Vancouver stole a point from Dallas. So I guess Jimmy Maurer did have to make one save, and he failed to. New England and Columbus played for already the second time this season. Previously, they drew 2-2 at Mafre Stadium, but this time, Columbus continued their resurgence in form with a 1-0 win thanks to a goal from Lala Abubakar. After a run of 3 straight losses at the end of March and beginning of April, Columbus is undefeated now in their last 6 matches, having won 3 straight. New England, on the other hand, continue with their patchy record, alternating between wins and losses in their last 4 matches. Both teams are in the top 6, however. Here are 2 things that typically don't go together: Philly and lopsided victory. But that's exactly what happened this weekend when RSL came to the Talon at Energy Stadium. The Union ran out as 4-1 winners, spreading the goals out amongst Marcus Epps, Borak Tokal, Ilsinho, and Keegan Rosenberry. Interestingly enough, Philly really spread the goals out amongst their team, as no player has scored more than 2 goals so far. That victory, their 4th of the season, actually puts Philly just outside of the playoff places for now, just 3 points behind New England. It's too early to talk about playoff places, I know, but that's just used as a measuring stick. RSL, on the other hand, are also suffering from checkerboarditis, as they either win or lose these days. As an Impact fan, I know what that feels like. Hey, the Impact are actually playing the Galaxy right now, so another chance at a loss. I'm already so jaded, and it's so early. Speaking of words that don't typically go together, DC United and victory, as DC United turned on the style against the tragically poor San Jose Earthquakes. Here I was thinking that the Quakes would be decent this season, and it turns out they're taking a shot at being the worst team in the league alongside the Rapids in Montreal with just 9 points from 11 matches played. Ouch. DC is still worse, however, with now just 8 points from their first 9 matches. They got the win thanks to goals from Zoltan Stieber, Darren Maddox, and Yamil Assad, the terrific trio. The first goal was a huge one, as Luciano Acosta played a beautiful ball over the top for Stieber to run onto, as the Hungarian scored his 2nd of the season, taking his goal involvement to 4 goals in his last 3 matches. Acosta also set up the 2nd, which was finished off by Darren Maddox for his 4th goal in 8 appearances this season. Quakes down 2-0 after just 20 minutes at home, and it got worse in the 37th as Yamil Assad opened his body to direct the ball into the far corner. 3-0, and yet another defensive mistake by the Quakes. Perhaps the Quakes thought a comeback was on the cards when in the 43rd minute they pulled one back, but it wasn't to be. Another loss, and still only 2 wins this season. Minnesota and SKC played out to a 1-1 draw as Kyrie Shelton finally, after 11 appearances now, scored his first goal for Sporting Kansas City, and hopefully, for his sake, that will open the floodgates. It was a well-taken goal as well, as he rose high from a corner to nod home a powerful header. 12 minutes later, however, the Loons rushed forward, and after having his header saved, Darwin Quintero put away his own rebound for his 3rd goal of the season. 12 minutes later, however, the Loons rushed forward, and after having his header saved, Darwin Quintero put away his own rebound for his 3rd goal of the season. From there, the teams traded chances back and forth, kind of, while Minnesota's threat was tempered completely in the second half by SKC. In fact, SKC overall outshot Minnesota 24-6. Domination, man. So, Kansas City remain one of the best teams in the league, as they top the table in the West by a full 4 points. Running away with it early, can they keep it up throughout the stretch of the season? We'll have to see, but right now they're looking like favorites for the MLS Cup. Chicago hosted Houston on Sunday evening, and going into this one, Chicago was unbeaten at home against the Dynamo in their last 7 matches, conceding no more than a goal per game. Well, that streak was certainly snapped in this one, and they began working at it early, as just 4 minutes in, Romel Kyoto found himself one-on-one with Sanchez, and he finished coolly into the bottom corner. That's 3 goals now for Kyoto in 10 appearances, to go along with his 4 assists. Chicago took control from there though, with Nemanja Nikolic finishing in the 14th minute, his 6th of this season. And then Nikolic turned provider as he set up Diego Campos just 2 minutes after scoring one for himself. Beautiful assist from Nikolic, by the way, as he flicked it through for Campos. In the second half, however, Manotas was taken down by Richard Sanchez, and Alberth Ellis converted. Cue the fear seeping into the Chicago team. And cue Alberto Ellis taking control of this match, first hitting the post, then burning both Chani and Kappelhoff to make it 3-2 Houston, and that's how it ended. Houston have now pushed themselves into 6th in the West, while Chicago continued to float around in 8th placed obscurity, not at the bottom of the table and not in the playoff contention. Again, too early to talk about playoffs, but again, it's just a measuring stick. And finally, Sunday night saw an absolute barn burner of a matchup between the leaders of the East, Atlanta United, against the red-hot Red Bulls. Lots of red there. Ezequiel Barco scored in the 25th minute, which was his 3rd goal from 7 matches played this season. And it looked as though Atlanta had doubled their lead just 5 minutes later when Martinez cut around Miata and finished. But it was brought back for a foul on Tim Parker. It wasn't intentional. He did tie up Parker's legs a bit, but I could see it going either way. In the 39th minute, Wright Phillips was hauled down in the Atlanta box while he was going for a header, and thus a penalty was awarded. A bit soft in my opinion, but I've seen him given. And Royer hit a cheeky Panenka right down the middle to tie the match. Quite the turn in fortunes from being down 2 to having that goal called back, and then going level, all in the span of 10 minutes. And then it almost shifted even further in the Red Bulls' favor, as Laurentowicz was given a red card for having his boot high in a challenge. But thanks to VAR, the decision was corrected and changed to a yellow card. 5 minutes later, however, one of the best MLS strikers took control of the game as Wright Phillips guided a Michael Murillo cross into the bottom corner. 2-1 Red Bulls, but just 4 minutes later, he was at it again. What a header from BWP. A quick brace, and Atlanta are up against it from this point on, with it getting even tougher for them when Greg Garza was sent off in the 71st minute for a 2-footed foul that saw Garza's boot hit the knee of his opponent. Not intentional, but extremely reckless, and put his opponent in danger. The victory did come at a cost, however, as Kamar Lawrence left the field with his head and neck immobilized on a stretcher after falling awkwardly. Tyler Adams also left the pitch in that same time frame after injuring his right knee. Looks pretty bad for both players, so here's to a speedy recovery. A big 3-1 win for the Red Bulls ensures that they are within touching distance of 1st in the East, just 4 points behind Atlanta, who suffered just their 3rd loss of the season. Alright, now let's decide on an MLS Player of the Week. We could go with Alberto Ellis, who turned Houston's 2-1 loss into a 3-2 win, or we could go with David Villa, who on the day he received a special presentation for his 400 club goals, scored a brace. However, I'm going to go with one of his New York rivals, because for me, Wright Phillips deserves a lot of recognition. The media, until now, has been a little bit quiet surrounding his season so far, but from 10 appearances, 7 of which were starts, he has managed to score 8 goals and assist 5. For a goal involvement of 13 in just 10 appearances. Incredible. Also, a shout out to Kaku, who got his 9th assist this weekend in just 9 appearances. What a revelation he's been for the New York Red Bulls. And hey, that's it from this weekend's action. I'm gonna go watch Montreal, hopefully not lose to the LA Galaxy now. On the TV though, obviously. I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and if you enjoyed it, then do me a favor and drop a like. Other than that, my name is Adrian from Rabona TV, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care now.